You think I'm an extrovert. I'm actually an introvert.
Okay.
Because I was quiet and shy at school. They always pick on the quiet kid, right, or the shy kid, or the kid that's a bit different. So I got bullied at school.
Okay.
And I was in the bottom set in everything in school. And I think that was just because I didn't enjoy school. But what happened on my journey basically is that I got really interested in personal development. I really got interested in, how to solve some of my own challenges around confidence, self-esteem, lots and lots of things. And I just researched things, and I found great mentors and teachers, and they weren't necessarily in school. There could be a martial arts teacher that taught me something, or somebody that taught me something from the temple, or my community, and just different philosophies and different ideas, wisdom. And those things were powerful, powerful things, and they made a massive difference in my life. And then I wanted to sort of give that and represent that to others, because I knew that they don't teach this in school. They teach maths, English, science, but they don't teach you resiliency. They don't teach you confidence. They don't teach you self-love. And that's how Be Great was formed. There was this interview with Muhammad Ali, actually, right? And somebody asked Muhammad Ali about his Rolls Royce, right? But he goes, the reason I have a Rolls Royce and a flashy and all of this kind of stuff, right, is because I want to show my people what's possible. I need to be wealthy. I need to have success. Kanye West also said once, is that now is the time for us to be, it should be okay for us to be great, right? It should be okay for everybody, right, to be great and shine your light. And we've got to acknowledge, right, sometimes what we do is we say, oh, I've got so much more to give, I've got so much more to give, right? And we're never really there. What I've learned to do as well, is as you make progress, also to congratulate yourself and celebrate yourself. That's all part of self-love. And what people don't do enough of, and what I am passionate about sort of teaching people, is to say, right, yes, you have got this amazing potential. You'll first realize that you've got so much more to give. Every single one of us has. But also, let's start changing negative self-talk. Let's start changing limiting beliefs.
Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Against All Odds. My name is Daniel Coker, your accidental podcaster, and our guest this week is Mr. Hiten Bhatt. Did I pronounce that right?
Correct.
Okay, Hiten is an author. He's written a wonderful book on the leadership adventure, 5 powerful secrets every leader should know to motivate people and maximize productivity. He's a leadership training coach. He's a mentor to young people. And then he's also the founder and the CEO of Be Great Training Limited, which is, I'm sure he'll tell us a bit more about it. But Hiten is someone that I've recently become acquainted with, and he has an amazing story about how he started out on a council estate in Wembley to where he is now. Hiten, welcome to Against All Odds.
Daniel, thank you so much. Blessed to be here with you. Feeling excited about today.
I'm really feeling excited as well. So Hiten, just tell us a little bit about your background. I know you were bullied at school. You had ADHD issues. Your dad had some bipolar issues and all. Just tell us a little bit about your background and how you came to where you are now, to be where you are now.
Sure. And
before this episode starts, I'd like to ask a big favor. Your subscription means a lot to us, because the bigger this platform gets, the bigger the guests get. So do me a favor, please click on the subscribe button and the bell notification so that you don't miss out on any future episodes. Now let's get back to this episode.
When I just saw the title of your podcast, Against All Odds, it just perfectly represents kind of so many people's challenges, and certainly for me, in terms of my background, it did feel like against all odds, because I was born on a council estate in Wembley. My father had mental health challenges, bipolar, and I would say we had a loving family, definitely a loving family. But obviously, like with many families, there's obviously dysfunction, right? In any family, right? At school, because I'm an introvert, believe it or not, even though I'm a,
Oh, really?
I'm a you wouldn't think it. I'm a speaker, speaking for, and maybe we could touch on that a bit later on.
Yeah.
But I'm actually, you'd think I'm an extrovert. I'm actually an introvert.
Okay.
Because I was a quiet and shy at school, they always pick on the quiet kid, right, or the shy kid, or the kid that's a bit different. So I got bullied at school.
Okay.
And I was in the bottom set in everything in school. I was the bottom set in many subjects. And I think that was just because I didn't enjoy school, right? But what happened on my journey, basically, is that I got really interested in personal development. I really got interested in, how to solve some of my own challenges around confidence, self-esteem, lots and lots of things. And I just researched things, and I found great mentors and teachers, and they weren't necessarily in school. There could be a martial arts teacher that taught me something, or somebody that taught me something from the temple, or my community, and just different philosophies and different ideas, wisdom. And those things were powerful things, and they made a massive difference in my life. And then I wanted to sort of give that and represent that to others, because I knew that they don't teach this in school. They teach maths, English, science, but they don't teach you resiliency. They don't teach you confidence. They don't teach you self-love. And that's how Be Great was formed. And the reason it's called Be Great, the philosophy is because I know for a fact, right, that every single one of us has greatness. Every single one of us has greatness. If I was to ask you the question right now, Daniel, right, this question, you answer this question to me. Do you feel right now that you're maximizing your full potential? Or have you got so much more to give?
I've got so much more to give.
Yeah?
I've got so much more to give, but I think I'm on a journey because, like I said, my background is a chartered accountancy. I've worked in the city for many years, but then I felt that there was a whole lot more that I could give, and through this podcast, I believe that I'm making an impact on people's lives.
100%, 100%, and that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So, and we've got to acknowledge, right? Sometimes what we do is we say, "Oh, I've got so much more to give. I've got so much more to give," right? And we're never really there. So there's so much more to do. There's so much more to do. What I've learned to do as well, is as you make progress, also to congratulate yourself and celebrate yourself and say, "Wow, today, we did this amazing podcast together. Wow, tap on the back, right?
Yeah,
Daniel, tap on the back, Hiten,
Yeah.
right? That's all part of self-love. And what people don't do enough of, and what I am passionate about sort of teaching people, is to say, right, yes, you have got this amazing potential. You first realize that. You've got so much more to give, every single one of us has. But also, let's start changing negative self-talk. Let's start changing limiting beliefs.
Okay, I was going to ask you that.
Okay, all right, yeah. We're gonna go all over on this podcast.
All right.
Yeah, okay. You tell me. All right, yeah.
So I was actually going to ask you about limiting beliefs, because a lot of people are conditioned to not rock the boat, and to follow a certain path, and to stay within certain parameters. But the people who are game changers in this world are people who have gone against the norm. Because I'm a chartered accountant, I've worked in the city all my life, and I have no business starting a podcast. It doesn't fit, right? I didn't go to journalism school.
Amazing.
I'm very down to earth, I'm very relatable. There's no airs or graces about me, but I'm still making an impact. I'm trying to make an impact in this space.
I respect you so much for that, because someone can't box you.
Yeah.
People say, "Oh, he's a chartered accountant. He's a corporate guy. He's a city guy." And now you've done. And were you judged? Were people?
Oh yes, I was judged. And I am still being judged, because it's the thing that it's not the norm. I've had an incredible journey. I've done so many crazy things along the way, and I constantly keep coming against the mindset that this is not what a straight A student does. This is not what a first class graduate does. First class graduates are supposed to go and do a master's and then a PhD and then find a good stable job and work there for 30 years till they retire. Okay, but that hasn't been my path. I've done lots of side turns and twists and whatever it is, because I believe in living a life of purpose.
Yes.
Okay, and trying to be the best version of myself.
Yes.
But a lot of people have limiting beliefs. So tell our viewers a little bit about how they can overcome limiting beliefs. Because I believe that somebody who's watching, who's procrastinating, who could be something, who could start something.
100%.
But guess what? It's just talk.
Yeah, 100%. All right.
So tell us.
So let me start. I'll look at this camera. And do it right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start with a story. Okay. And here's the story. Okay. In certain parts of the world, they don't have sort of trucks or JCBs and things like that, right? So on construction sites, they use elephants to carry heavy loads, right? And the way in which they train a baby elephant is they take a baby elephant and they'll tie one of its feet to a small wooden stump in the ground, right? Small wooden stump. And that baby elephant will try and escape, will try and pull away. It can't do it. It can't do it. It can't do it. It's trying to get away, but it's tied to this small wooden stump. As that elephant grows into a full-size, massive elephant that now has the power and potential to uproot a tree, guess what the trainer can do? That trainer can tie it to the same wooden stump that he or she used when it was a baby, and now that elephant doesn't even bother to move. It just stands still. Why? What's the reason? Tell me the reason. What's the reason?
Limiting beliefs. It's just like,
Limiting beliefs. It's literally been conditioned to think, I can't do it. I can't do it. I failed. I failed. I failed. I failed. I failed. Right? And because of that, it thinks, right, I'm never going to be able to escape that. And the same thing happens in our life, right? I'm never going to be successful. I'm never going to make that amount of money. I'm never going to find somebody that I love. Whatever it may be, right? There's all sorts of limiting beliefs that we have in our mind. And the way to overcome this is to understand this one thing, right? That failure is just learning. Failure is just learning, right? Failure is just feedback. It's this thing known as the growth mindset. Have you heard of the concept of the growth mindset versus the fixed mindset?
Yeah.
Carol Dweck, a Stanford University professor, has come out with this concept. But basically, a fixed mindset says, I am this, right? It's just as you said, Daniel. You said, okay, I'm just somebody. You could have thought to yourself, oh, I'm not a podcaster, so I'm just a chartered accountant. But you didn't have that fixed mindset. You say, oh, okay, I can go on that journey to change. You can change your identity. Other people will try and box you. Other people will try and put limiting beliefs on you, right? Other people will try and keep your potential. And you know why? Because if you start going in different directions, right? If you start creating success for yourself and moving in different directions, it's not because they're bad people, but you ruffle feathers. You ruffle feathers.
Why is that? Why are people so envious?
This is a very, very interesting. It's a very interesting area, right? This whole thing, and I've experienced this myself. Anybody that does anything, right? You're gonna get haters, right? Haters are out there, right? In the world, right? And here's the thing that I've realized about this. Now, do you dim your light? Do you say to yourself, right? Okay, because I don't want to upset you, or because I don't want to make you feel insecure, I'm going to play it down, right? I'm going to play it down, right? Or do you say to yourself, no, like, actually, right, I'm going to do me, right? And I'm going to fully blast my potential, and I'm going to fully live in an amazing way, right? With what my potential is, right? And actually, the people that will be inspired by it are the people that will take inspiration from it, will be like, oh wow, that's amazing. Maybe that's possible for me to do, right? That's the mindset. And the people that feel insecure about it, it's not about them. They can, because they're not ready. And it's not to judge them, and it's not to say, but I think negative energy and haters, you've got to kind of, what I've learned to do is I've learned to kind of like cut them out of my life, right? Because unfortunately I can't have that energy around me. There was this interview with Muhammad Ali actually, right? And somebody asked Muhammad Ali about his Rolls Royce, right? And I think in that interview he said like, oh, I've got a Rolls Royce, I've got a Rolls Royce. And the way he explained it, I can't remember his exact words what he said, right? But he goes, the reason I have a Rolls Royce and a flashy and all of this kind of stuff, right, is because I want to show my people what's possible. I need to be wealthy. I need to have success. Not because, obviously for yourself as well, but also only if you're in a position of power, only if you're in a position of wealth, only if you are great, can you actually give greatness to other people. Only if you're filled up. We live in a world full of like insecure, traumatized, just like unconfident people, right? That are just like, and Kanye West also said once, right, is that now is the time for us to be, it should be okay for us to be great, right? It should be okay for everybody, right, to be great and shine your light. And you're gonna ruffle feathers. You're gonna make people feel insecure. You're gonna, but the way I look at it, right, and I've got another great story. I got my story. I've got to share this one, right? Yeah. This is a story that I think has been one of the stories that has really inspired my life, right? And so I'm from the Hindu faith, right? My guru is Mahant Swami Maharaj, and his guru is a spiritual teacher called Yogiji Maharaj. And Yogiji Maharaj used to say a story, and it applies, and I'll change it slightly for the purpose of the podcast. Just I won't go into the details of it, but the essence of it is like this: there was a man and a woman that wanted to make their way, farmers that wanted to make their way into the city, right? And they had a donkey, okay? And first, right, the man sat on the donkey and the woman was walking, right? And they're walking along and they come across, they go in the village, right? They're trying to get to the city. And in that first village, everyone says, oh, look at this man, he's sitting on that donkey, right?
He's letting his wife walk.
He's letting his wife walk, right?
Yeah.
So then they go, oh, he's terrible lazy, yeah? So then the next village, they go, you sit on the donkey this time, right? I'll walk, right? Everyone in the village is like looking and saying, oh, what are they going to say? That woman, no respect for her husband, right? No respect for her husband. So then they go, okay, now look, one more village to get through before we get to the city, right? I'll tell you what, yeah? Let the donkey walk in the middle, yeah? You walk on this side. No,
I'll walk on that side.
I'll walk on that side, yeah? No one can say nothing to us now, yeah? We're fine.
Yeah.
They go, look at these two stupid people, they're not donkey, not using it. So the last thing they go, okay, let's both sit on the donkey, yeah? And we'll be fine, we'll get to the city.
What a wicked...
Exactly, cruel people, call the RSPCA or whatever of those times, right? And Yogiji Maharaj used to explain that in this world, no matter what you do, right, just for existing, like people won't like you just for being born, just because you are who you are. Yeah, people won't like you because you're black. People won't like me because of you're just for existing. What, you're going to stop breathing now? You're going to stop existing. So the way in my mind is that, at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, and this is another mic drop moment here coming up, right? Here it is one of the most important relationships you have is the relationship you have with yourself, right? That's it. One of the most, at the end of the day, when all is said and done, right, you're in your mind. Nobody can be in your mind, right, fully, even the closest person to you. And you got to create a good relationship with yourself. That means self-love. That means healing stuff that's happened in the past. That's a journey, all right? And that means just moving towards more and more of whatever your greatness is. Don't compare yourself to anybody else,
Okay, so you that's a very important point about not comparing yourself to other people. And ever since I started this podcast, one of the things, the common thread I've seen in all the guests that I've interviewed is almost a certain resolute mindset. It's almost like a very steely way of thinking. It's like, no, this is me, this is who I am, this is where I want to get to. And this is how I'm going to get there. Okay, I've taken the decision, and I'm backing that decision with actions. But a lot of people are afraid to take that first step because, as you mentioned, fear of failure, fear of what people think, and fear of upsetting the cart. Okay. How best do you think? There's somebody who's watching this podcast, okay, can drown out those voices, because there's lots of voices. There's a lot of voices that seek to control us and influence us.
Oh, 100%.
Voices of partners, loved ones.
Oh, massive.
You know, oh, don't start that business. It's too risky.
Oh, 100%.
You're going to lose money. Or the last business that you did, you lost so much money. And you
people in your family.
You're good for nothing. I mean, who do you think you are? You know, and even sometimes nothing might be said, but it might be a look.
The energy. The energy.
And the energy. It's like that, you know. And you don't get that support.
Nah.
How do you get yourself into a state of being great? Because I also believe that, you know, I'm from the Christian faith, you know, and one of the things that we learn about the Christian faith is that your thinking is, I mean, you are what you think.
Yes.
As you think in your head, that's who you are.
Yes.
As I think of myself as a podcast host, that's who I become.
Yes.
You know, and I'm comfortable with it.
Yes.
If you don't like it, tough, right? That's my thinking's fine. My thinking's aligned.
Yeah.
Greatness, as you talk about, be great. That's your passion and your calling. It's closely, I mean, somebody who's great or people who are great are normally great inside first.
Bam. This is very important.
Tell us about that.
No, Karen.
No, tell us about that. You know, because you've got to work on being great inside. This is a key point. Yeah, because what comes out is a reflection of what's in.
Yes.
You know, if you're defeated within, that's it. You've got no chance.
Okay. All right.
So tell us about that.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. Love that. Great question. Okay. Your internal world creates the external world. There's a saying that says everything in the world was created twice. How is everything in the world created twice? Somebody thought about this mic, and now we see this physical mic. This mic didn't just appear. Somebody thought about this podcast, right? This was a concept in your mind, and now here we are doing an actual physical podcast. This book, right? This book, I thought about this in my mind, and it is now a physical book in your hand. So the internal game is everything. Everything first exists in the invisible realm, in the unobservable. Then things manifest in the external world. Now, we're living in a world full of distractions. We're living in a world now of social media, right? Instagram, Twitter, X, let's say it's now called, right? All these different platforms, and the kids, you know, they're on this sort of TikTok and all the new ones coming out, all this sort of stuff. So I'm not necessarily saying there's positive and negative to this world of social media as well, right? We're being bombarded by advertisements. Now AI is just now you'll notice, right? The phone's actually listening to you. Oh, so they can sell you stuff, right? They're listening to your conversation. Have you noticed this?
Yeah.
Like we go on. Yeah. Oh, I just had that conversation with my wife. Now they're trying to sell me a holiday, right? Or whatever it is, right? You know. So everyone is trying to basically sell you something. Everyone is trying to basically influence you in many, many different ways. Yeah, social media, advertising, this thing. And there's a saying that says, if you don't have a plan for your life, somebody else does. If you don't have a plan for your life, somebody else does. Your life, somebody's already got a plan for you. He's got an agenda for your day, right? Oh, yeah, you're doing it. You're doing a wife with kid, obviously, right? You know, but you got to have a plan for your life. Now the way to do this, right? The first thing is that I'm going to advise people, right, in terms of answering your question, to take that step, right? You have to shut out all the noise. That means practically, okay, to go into the space of silence, to go into the space of introspection, it means to cut off from social media. It might mean to switch off your phone. It might mean to actually go for walks in nature by yourself. It might mean journaling. It might mean all of these kinds of things where you actually start to actually not go to that social engagement. You spend time with yourself. And a lot of people don't like spending time with themselves, right? But I think, in my view, okay, when you do that, what happens is you get to really know yourself. And this is a massive, massive theme in my life, and one of the main themes of my sort of work is the Greek philosopher Socrates said, know thyself. And that sentiment has been communicated throughout cultures and religions in many, many different ways. Know yourself, know who you are, know your soul, right? Know your essence. And that can only happen in my view, right, properly, when you're not bombarded by distracted, right? So you get to then go, okay, like, what is happiness for me? I'm not trying to keep up with the Joneses. I'm not trying to keep up with the Patels, in my case, in my community, right?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to be me.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to basically, so you know what, this whole thing about like competition, comparing, you know, like, the only competition you have is a competition with yourself.
Yeah.
That's it. I hope to answer the question. I don't know if I want my question.
So in a nutshell, takeaway from this is that you got to do you.
But it's like, cut off. The practical step is spend time in silence. Journal, spend time in nature, and cut off from social media. They're three practical tips, right? And in journaling, what you're actually answering is, you're answering like big questions to start off internal game. First of all, the question that you can ask on your journal, get a journal, literally, or on your phone. So I journal on the notes folder on my phone. It's easier. But some people, you might like a physical book and pen, right? But what you do is you go, okay, on the notes folder on your phone, you say, okay, you put, who am I? Question, that's a question, right? You say, oh, my name is, Daniel, I'm a cash art, you do it normal. But then you might start going a bit deeper, like, oh, who am I? Like, what's your personality traits? Oh, I'm this, right? Who am I? And you ask the question, who am I, right? Then another big question you can ask, right? Journal question. What do I want? Oh, I want money. I'll be respected. Oh, and then you go deeper. Okay, why do you want those things? What's it like, right? How do I get those things? Then you make a plan. Then what happens is that by answering those kind of like big kind of questions, right? And there's loads of these kind of journaling questions, right? From that, then you start to actually build the picture and make the plan, the practical, concrete steps here to actually make it happen. But what people make a mistake of, and I see this all the time on social media and like YouTube and stuff like that, right? Where people talk about manifestation and visualization. And it's very mystical, right? Oh, you've got to just manifest your dreams and you've got to, do all of this kind. But there's two sides of it. There's the vision side, the unobservable, and then there's actually the practical action bit, where the idea doesn't just stay in your head. You actually have to break the barrier and go and make that idea happen. And that's where a lot of people fall down. That's the bit where they don't actually do it. And like I said, for you to overcome that, it's about taking the time out from all the other distractions as a starting point. And then importantly, I think, working on your self-love. Self-love is a big thing, right? Like I said, the most important relationship you have is a relationship you have with yourself. Okay? And sometimes things that have happened to us in our childhood, things that, are with us even in adulthood, right? That you don't realize, but they are things that are there. And what you have to kind of go on, and this is a very sort of a deeper subject, right? We might have to do another podcast, is you've got to go on a healing journey. You've got to heal things about yourself. You've got to heal that inner child, right? It's telling me, because you're adult now, it's okay. You're all right now. Okay.
So another key takeaway from this podcast today is knowing yourself, and for me, I discovered it pretty much, again, by accident, because I was a straight A student, first class, graduate.
Wow.
I was
amazing.
Qualified as a chartered accountant in a year and a half, working in an American investment bank. But then I was deeply dissatisfied, and I didn't understand why. And then I came across a guy called Roger Hamilton. Roger, back in the day, he's half English, half, I think from Singapore, Malaysia. But he basically has made his life's work teaching people to know themselves.
Wow.
He's a multi-millionaire just by teaching people how to know themselves.
Wow.
That's pretty much, he's kind of extended. He does various things now. He's actually even sold that business to somebody else now. But essentially what he was doing was teaching people that, look, everybody has a God-given templates
Yes.
that we come equipped with.
Yes.
You know, and the people who do well tend to do well operating within their templates. So if you have somebody who's a creative person, like a Bill Gates or Steve Jobs or whatever it is, they're creative people and they do well in that space.
Exactly.
Now, a creative person moves out of that space, tries to do something else.
Exactly.
Disaster.
Yeah.
Okay. Oprah Winfrey is what you call a star profile. Tiger Woods, they are the brand, you know, and their value is in the brand.
Absolutely.
So they come into a space, the whole space lights up. Because there's an energy about them.
Yes.
And then next to that, you have what you call supporters. Supporters are leaders, good people managers. They're not limelight people, but you need them to execute strategies.
You're really essential, very important. Yeah.
And then next to that, you have what my profile, which is deal maker profile. Deal makers are people connectors.
Yes.
You know, they thrive in that space.
Yes.
You know, I'm so connected. You know, I'm just connected globally, not just in the UK, but I'm just a connected person, and I will travel halfway around the world to play golf with somebody that I have a connection with. Okay, and come back. That's how much I invest in that side of things. And then next day you have what you call traders, people who are sensory, they know time. And then you have people who are accumulators. You know, the person is a size 12 or size 16, but they still keep their size 8 clothes. They're never going to go back to size 8, right? But in their nature, they don't let go. Okay, and then you have people who are also lords. Lords are people who like to control things, like control freaks. Got it. You know, that's just the way they are. They like to be in control. Okay. And then next to that, you have what you call mechanics.
Amazing.
Mechanics are systems people. They see everything in terms of systems. So they'll look at this podcast and break it down into systems. First system, booking people, doing research. Second system, this. Third system. They just see the world in terms of systems. Now, if you understand who you are at the core, okay, what Roger Hamilton teaches is that play your game.
Play your game.
Play your game. Don't try to play somebody else's game.
That's it.
You know, and I've spent, ever since I came into contact with him, I've realized that I'm a people person. Everything I do is in the people space. If you ask me to do something else, it's just not me. It's not you, You know.
And you're not going to be happy. You won't be happy.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why I found I was very dissatisfied working at a bank in middle office, because there was no people engagement. There's no interaction. You know, it just wasn't there. I would have done well in a trading environment, client facing, business development. You know, I wasn't given those opportunities. I've had to create opportunities myself in various ways, but that's a very essence of who I am. You know, I need to be around people to connect with people.
That's it.
You know, so know thyself is a
very important. Very important. And I love the way that you spoke about those different personalities, right? What I will say about that, just to say, right, is this, okay? Sometimes we can box ourselves with personality stuff. So I do agree with you on the thing, right? You know, I think human beings are infinite, right? We can do anything that we put our mind to, right? And we can be, you know, and you can, you know, like whereas MBTI, Myers-Briggs stuff, or Carl Rogers stuff, you know, all of that sort of personality stuff, right? However, what I do agree with 100%, right, is leveraging your strengths and working in your zone of genius. So you might be excellent at you could actually learn and have the growth mindset to be excellent in another field, but your zone of genius will be that people, that collaborating, right? You know, like my zone of genius is like so if I said I was looking into my Myers-Briggs stuff, so I'm an INFJ, right? Intuitive, I don't know what it is, right? People out there know will know what that is, right? So, but that is and because I'm leaning into that now, right? And I've had so many times in my life where I've been so unhappy because I thought I had to be something else, and I was operating in a different way. That like I'm trying to be good at this thing, but I'm really like not. That is just not my skill set. Like I'm really slow at it. I'll eventually get there. So people who are naturally sensors, they're amazing at it, and I'm trying to like, oh my god! And it's just that is not the most best way to live. The best way to live is to lean into your strengths. Shore up your weaknesses as well. Like don't just like not try to like don't have what I'm saying. The little bit of caveat is just to say, whatever the weakness is, like as much as possible, try and improve it a bit. You're never gonna might not be excellent at it, but it's good to improve it, but mainly focus on and leverage your zone of genius, your strength.
What about teamwork? Because you talk about improving your weaknesses, but I also believe in teamwork, because if you, much as being great is talks about infinite potential, nobody achieves greatness in a vacuum.
No.
You achieve greatness with people.
With people.
But I must say, I've come across people on this journey who have achieved greatness for themselves. I'm not going to name any names, but they haven't taken anybody with them. Do
you mean by that they've not given back?
Well,
have they been selfish?
It's about them.
Have they been selfish?
It's about them.
Have they been narcissistic about it, or what?
No, they've done really well for themselves, but their path to their greatness did not involve uplifting other people. I mean, for instance, this podcast is for BAME people, right? I'm trying to uplift the stories of Black, Asian, and minority ethnic people.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not trying to be a podcast superstar. I've got zero interest in that. Okay, it's none of my goals to be that kind of person.
Yeah.
I create a platform for people to talk about their stories, not to talk about my story, But then teamwork, I think, is essential, because nobody's going to be very infinitely great at everything. So you need to learn how to leverage the strengths and the strong points of other people, and surround yourself with people who can fill in your weaknesses.
100%.
To 100%. Achieve greatness together.
Yeah, 100%. And shall I tell you something, right? This is really, really important. This is really, really key, right? Everyone's greatness, right? So let's say I'm like a limelight guy, right? I'm in front of the camera, I'm speaking, right? And doing this thing. So because I'm a creative or I'm a speaker or whatever it is. So everyone's like, oh wow, Hiten, amazing, yeah. Oh. But there could be a background person who's actually doing all the editing or doing all the the admin or that thing. Does that mean that I'm more valuable than that person? No. Their greatness is so much. Everyone's greatness is in their own unique way, right? And what a leader does, right? A good leader, right? Is he has a deep appreciation for his team, because he or she knows, right? That without the team, without collaboration, without those great people, and what really great entrepreneurs do, what great entrepreneurs do? They're constantly looking out, right? For who's actually better than me. Let me actually get people in there's let me get the best graphic designer in that guy's like he's world class at his graphic design. Let me go and get a world class player. Let me recruit and attract to me world class team members and high integrity. The thing for me in like working with people, right, is high integrity, high trust. When you find those gems, and they are out there, right? It's not that the whole world is full of people that will just do you. And people want to help you. When you ask people, right, can you help me? They're happy to help you. A lot of the time, right? And you just got to put your energy out. You're going to attract those people, and then your vision starts to come together, and everyone's a winner. It's not oh, I win, you lose. Everyone's a winner in this. There's plenty for everyone, because everyone's doing their thing. They're doing their thing, man. No one's taking away from you. It's like everyone's doing their thing.
Fantastic. Hiten, very quickly, I wanted to touch on the relationship between money and wealth, because we're running out of time. So
sure.
Yeah. So just tell us a little bit about that, because you've got some unique thoughts about wealth and money and stuff like that.
Yeah, sure. I think people have like we said earlier about ruffling feathers and all of that kind of stuff, right? I think it's very important to be wealthy. I think it's very important to embrace wealth. I think it's important to love money. I think this whole idea about money being the root of all evil holds a lot of people back, right? And I think a lot of people have limiting beliefs around their relationship with money. Money's just it doesn't bring you happiness. It's an enabler, but that can do wonderful things. It's an energy, right? And then if you place overemphasis on money, then that's gone wrong as well, because then you've gone like, you know, so you've got to really balance your relationship with money, right? And I'll just share with you a story that's always inspired me, right? Is that there was an interview with Bob Marley, right? BBC interviewer, I think, asked Bob Marley, he goes, are you rich? To Bob Marley, yeah? And Bob Marley asks, intelligent, he answers back, he said, rich? What do you mean by rich? Right? And the interviewer says, you mean you've got a lot of money in your bank account? You got a lot, you've got possessions. And Bob Marley goes, possessions make you rich? My richness is life, right? Mm-hmm. My richness is life. And that is that internal game. You know, the internal game we just talk about mm-hmm. first, mm-hmm. right? I'm already successful. I'm already rich, right? I could have no money in my bank account. I could be like driving a rubbish car, right? I could be living in the ghetto. But when you actually are somebody, right, that actually has a richness in you, right? That's a relationship with yourself. Then, right, you're already that. And you know how to do that? You count your blessings. You have appreciation. I'm blessed. I'm breathing today. I'm blessed. Wow, man. I'm like, the sun's come out today. I'm blessed. I'm seeing a flower. I'm seeing my child smile. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. And that energy of blessed, right? That energy of blessed. I'm blessed, right? That creates more energy. And that's richness. And then on top of that, you don't stop there. And then if you want to get your Aston Martin, get your Aston Martin. Don't worry about it. But just make sure you're in an area where you ain't got too many haters around you.
Yeah, I mean, I think just to go back, it's the love of money, not money. Money in itself is neutral. It's when the love of money sort of controls you, then
when you just go and people go really wrong with it, right? They just get like that guy you mentioned. What was his name? The personality guy?
Oh, Roger Hamilton.
Roger Hamilton, yeah? You told me he's he's made it multi-millionaire, right?
Yeah.
But if you asked him about his philosophy, so he's rich, so he's got both things, hasn't he? He's got that internal game, he's got purpose, and he's got the external wealth. But I bet you if you spoke to him, his whole approach to money will be very different.
Yeah.
It won't be that greedy, grabby, like my identity, and then we've got to like fight about it, and it just gets all like. And there's too much of that, right? There's too much. We need more philosophers. We need more conscious entrepreneurs, and that's kind of like what my work is trying to do.
Fantastic. What do you think of this podcast and what we're trying to do?
I think it's amazing. And as soon as we connected, and I saw the title of it. I just resonated with it, and I just thought, and you came back to me straight away as well, even though you were going through a bit of a health thing at the time and all that, right? And I just think against all odds, and especially as you say for the BAME community, right? We need it, and we've got, and you're one of the people that is putting out energy, that are inspiring people, that are bringing them up, right? So on your last breath. Right, you'll be you can take your last breath from this life, right, and say I did something, right. Yeah. That was my little
contribution.
That was my little contribution, and that's what it's all about. It's all about legacy.
Yeah.
We ain't here forever.
Yeah.
This is just a temporary thing.
Yeah.
Right. So in this temporary setup that we've got, you got to shine as bright as you can. You got to be great.
Fantastic. Hiten also has a YouTube channel, and he has a great content that he puts out, really short clips on various things. YouTube channel. We'll put the details in the comment section below. I've just literally started it up again, right? You've got to 1,000 now on this. I've got like 120 something. I'm deeply appreciative for each and every one of you. But if you could go to Be Great Training and subscribe, that would be very much appreciated. Yeah, I mean, he puts out some great material, and one of the reasons I brought him on was that I felt that we needed to shine a spotlight on what he was doing in his corner, because he has some great material out there which more people could learn from, and to improve their lives and to become great against all odds. Hiten, we have a tradition of this podcast as we wrap up of giving our guests the opportunity to dedicate any episodes that they feature on to any one or any group of people of their choice. So who would you like to dedicate this episode to? And you can look to the camera for that.
Okay.
That caught you by surprise, right?
That did actually caught me by surprise. A bit of a deep one for me. So 2 years ago, my mum passed. I was a carer for my mum. She had cancer, and for those 2 years, I was a carer for her. And she was somebody that was greatness personified, because the amount of positivity that she approached that whole situation, so and she's the one that's given me everything that I am is because of her. So I dedicate this to my mom.
Fantastic. If you've enjoyed this episode, I'd like you to subscribe, first of all, like, comment, and share. We try to build this platform. We've hit our first milestone of 1,000 subscribers. Next milestone is 10,000. And there's a lot of more interesting things coming about. This is more than just a podcast. This is just the beginning. We're just creating a community, and there's a lot of fantastic things behind this. So please help us to grow this community quicker. And because the bigger the podcast gets, the easier it will be to keep getting great guests like Hiten on our show. Hiten, thank you very much for your time.
And a great man like you.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
And see you next week.
Thank you.
And please get his book as well. Where's the book?
Available on Amazon.
On Amazon, okay. It's The Leadership Adventure, Hiten Bhatt. So please get it. Thank you.
Thank you.